The sky turned red the day the aliens came. Not just any red, but a deep, angry red that made people stop and stare. Some thought it was the end of the world. They were almost right. Commander Alan Parker stood by the window of the underground base. His eyes were tired. He had not slept well in days. The large screen on the wall showed the ruins of what was once New York City. Tall buildings now lay broken on the ground. Smoke rose from many places. "Sir, we lost contact with the West Coast team," said Lieutenant Samantha Wilson. Her voice was steady, but her hands shook a little. She had been awake for almost 30 hours. Alan nodded. This was not new. They lost people every day now. The aliens, the Nexarians, were too strong. They had better weapons. They had better ships. They seemed to know what humans would do before. They did it. "How many cities do we still hold?" Alan asked. "Just 5, sir. New Denver, Old Chicago, Atlanta Underground, Australia Base, and here." Alan looked at the map. 3 years ago, humans lived in thousands of cities across Earth. Now they were pushed into 5 last places. And those places were getting smaller, every day. The door to the command room opened. Colonel Frank Martinez walked in. His uniform was dirty and a fresh cut marked his face. "The supply run was a success," Frank said. "We got food and medicine, lost 2 good soldiers." "Just 2?" Alan asked. That was almost good news these days. The Nexarians were busy somewhere else. We got lucky. Luck. That's what it came down to now. Being in a place where the aliens were not. Running when they came. Hiding and hoping they would not find you. "Sir?" called Linda Graham from her desk at the communications center. "We're getting a message from General Rodriguez." Alan walked over to her station. The general's face appeared on the screen. He looked even more tired than Alan felt. "Parker, are you alone?" the general asked. Alan looked around the room. Only his most trusted people were there. "I'm with my team, sir." "That's fine, they need to hear this too." The general took a deep breath. "The council has approved Project Valkyrie." The room went quiet. Everyone knew what that meant. Project Valkyrie was the last plan, the one they said they would never use unless all hope was lost. "When?" Alan asked. "Now. We're sending transport to bring you to Cheyenne Mountain. The doctor needs you there." Alan thought about Dr. Eleanor Wright. She was brilliant, maybe the smartest person left on Earth, but her ideas were dangerous. The things she wanted to do to soldiers, it wasn't natural. "How many volunteers do we have?" Alan asked. "Not enough," the general said. "We need more. Good soldiers, brave ones." Alan nodded. "I'll find them." "You misunderstand, Parker. You're not just finding volunteers, you're going to be one." The screen went black before Alan could respond. "Sir?" Lieutenant Wilson looked at him with concern. "What's Project Valkyrie?" Alan sat down heavily in his chair. How could he explain it? How could he tell them that humans were about to cross a line they could never uncross? "It's our last chance," he finally said. "The doctor has found a way to make soldiers different, better, faster, stronger." "Like super soldiers?" asked Linda. "More than that," Alan said. "The doctor thinks she can change how the human brain works. Make it able to process information faster. Make soldiers able to see things before they happen." "That's not possible," Frank said. 3 years ago we thought aliens weren't possible," Alan replied. "Now look where we are." He stood up and looked at his team. These were good people. They had fought hard. They had watched friends die. They had not given up. "I need volunteers," he said. "The procedure is dangerous. Many won't survive it. Those who do will never be the same again, but they might, just might, be able to fight the Nexarians on equal terms." The room was silent for a long moment. Then Lieutenant Wilson stood up. "I volunteer." Frank Martinez nodded. "Me too." One by one, others joined them. Alan felt a mix of pride and sadness. These were his people. He had led them through 3 years of a losing war. Now he was asking them to risk more than their lives. He was asking them to risk their humanity. "Pack only what you need," he told them. "We leave in 1 hour." As the others left to prepare, Alan stayed behind. He walked to his small office and opened the bottom drawer of his desk. Inside was a picture of his wife and daughter. They had been in Boston when the Nexarians first came. He had not heard from them since. He touched their faces on the photo. "I'm going to try something," he whispered. "It might not work. It might make me something less than human. But if there's a chance—" The base alarm suddenly blared. Red lights flashed in the hallway. "Commander," Linda's voice came over the speaker. "Nexarian ships approaching. At least 5 of them." Alan rushed back to the command room. The main screen showed the alien ships, black, angular things that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Time to impact?" he asked. 10 minutes, maybe less," Linda replied. Alan made a quick decision. "Start the evacuation. Get everyone to the underground tunnels. Head for Point Echo. I'll meet you there." "What about the transport to Cheyenne Mountain?" Frank asked. "We'll have to find another way," Alan said. "Right now, we just need to survive." He watched as his team rushed to follow his orders. They were good at this now. Running, hiding, surviving one more day. But that's all they had been doing for 3 years. Running, hiding, barely surviving. It had to change. Somehow it had to change. Alan looked at the approaching alien ships one more time, then headed for the evacuation tunnels. In his pocket, the photo of his family seemed to burn against his leg. Project Valkyrie was humanity's last hope. A desperate plan that might turn ordinary soldiers into something powerful. Enough to fight back. Something that might finally turn the tide of this war. As he ran through the dark tunnels, Alan made a promise to himself. He would volunteer. He would let the doctor change him. And if he survived, if he became something more than human, he would use that power for one purpose only, to save what was left of humanity. The journey to Cheyenne Mountain took 5 days. Alan and his team moved only at night. During the day, they hid in the ruins of old buildings or in deep caves. The Nexarians had control of the skies. Their black ships were always watching. "How much farther?" asked Lieutenant Wilson. Her feet were sore and her water bottle was almost empty. "About 10 miles, Alan said. He pointed to the mountains ahead. "The entrance is hidden on the east side." Frank Martinez looked up at the sky. It was getting dark. Soon they could move again. "What do you think they will do to us there?" he asked. No one had an answer. Project Valkyrie was secret. They knew it would change them, make them stronger somehow. But the details were not shared with regular soldiers. "Whatever it is," Alan said, "it has to be better than just waiting for the aliens to kill us all." The group fell silent. They had lost many friends in the past 3 years. Whole cities were gone. Earth was losing this war badly. When night came, they started walking again. The mountain grew larger as they got closer. 2 hours before dawn, they reached a rock face that looked like any other part of the mountain. Alan pressed his hand against a certain spot on the rock. A hidden scanner read his handprint. With a low rumble, part of the rock face slid open. "Welcome to Cheyenne Mountain," said a voice from inside. They entered a long tunnel lit by dim blue lights. The rock door closed behind them. Armed guards stood at attention, their faces serious. "Commander Parker?" A woman in a white coat approached them. She was small but stood very straight. Her eyes were sharp and missed nothing. "I'm Dr. Eleanor Wright. We've been waiting for you." Alan nodded. "My team and I are here to volunteer for Project Valkyrie." Dr. Wright looked at the tired, dirty soldiers. "Good. Follow me." She led them through many tunnels and rooms. This place had once been a military base. Now it was the main science center for what was left of humanity. They passed rooms full of computers and strange machines. In some rooms, people in white coats looked at samples under microscopes. Finally, they reached a large room with many beds. Other soldiers were already there, resting or talking quietly. "This is where you'll stay for now," Dr. Wright said. "Get some rest, eat. Tomorrow we start testing to see who can join the program." "What kind of testing?" Frank asked. Dr. Wright's face was calm, but her eyes were sad. "Physical tests, mental tests. And genetic tests. Not everyone has the right genetic markers for the procedure. And if we don't have these markers? Lieutenant Wilson asked. Then you'll be assigned to the regular defense force here, Dr. Wright said. We need good soldiers everywhere. She left them to settle in. Food was brought. Real food. Not the dry rations they had been eating for months. For a moment, they almost felt normal again. Almost. The next day, the testing began. Blood tests, strength tests, tests where they had to solve puzzles while doctors watched their brain activity on screens. By the end of the day, Alan was exhausted. 3 days later, the results came in. Dr. Wright called them one by one to a small office to tell them if they qualified for Project Valkyrie. Lieutenant Wilson went first. She came out looking pale but determined. I'm in, she said simply. Frank went next. He was in too. When it was Alan's turn, he sat across from Dr. Wright and waited. Commander Parker, she said, your results are interesting. You have the genetic markers we need. Your physical condition is excellent for a man of your age. But there's something in your psychological profile that concerns me. What's that? Alan asked. You have a very strong reason to want to fight the Nexarians. Your family. Alan's hand went to his pocket where he kept their photo. Is that a problem? It might be, Dr. Wright said. The procedure changes how the brain works. Strong emotions can interfere with the process, make it more dangerous. Everything about this war is dangerous, Alan said. I want to volunteer anyway. Dr. Wright studied him for a long moment. All right, but I want you to understand something. If you survive the procedure, you won't feel emotions the same way anymore. Your brain will be different. You might not even care about the things you care about now. Alan thought about this. Not care about finding his family? Not feel the same way about them? It was a heavy price to pay. If it helps us win this war, he finally said, I'll pay it. Dr. Wright nodded. Report to Lab 7 tomorrow morning at 600 hours. The next morning, Alan, Samantha, Frank, and 22 other soldiers gathered in Lab 7. It was a large room filled with special chairs that looked a bit like dentist chairs, but with many more machines attached to them. Each chair had a helmet-like device hanging above it. The procedure takes 6 hours, Dr. Wright explained. It will be painful. Your brain is being rewired. Some of you won't survive. Those who do will need 2 weeks to recover and adjust to your new abilities. A team of doctors and nurses moved around the room preparing equipment. Any questions before we begin? Dr. Wright asked. What exactly will we be able to do after this? Someone asked. If it works correctly, your brain will process information much faster than a normal human brain. You'll see patterns others miss. Your reaction time will be almost instant, and you'll have perfect control over your body, every muscle, every movement. Will we still be human? Frank asked quietly. Dr. Wright didn't answer right away. You'll be what humanity needs right now, she finally said. They were assigned to chairs. Nurses attached monitors to their bodies and inserted IVs into their arms. The helmet-like devices were lowered onto their heads. Alan sat in his chair and thought about his wife and daughter one last time. Their faces seemed clear in his mind. He wondered if he would remember them the same way after the procedure, or if he would remember them at all. Beginning neural interface in 3, 2, 1, Dr. Wright said. Pain shot through Alan's body. It felt like fire in his veins, like lightning in his brain. He tried not to scream, but he couldn't help it. Around him, other soldiers were screaming too. The last thing he saw before he blacked out was Dr. Wright watching them, her face showing both hope and guilt. Project Valkyrie had begun. Humanity's last hope was now in motion. The question was, would any of them survive to fight another day? Alan woke up slowly. The room was bright. Too bright. He could see every tiny dust particle floating in the air. He could hear the heartbeats of people nearby. Everything was too loud, too clear. He's awake, someone said. The voice hurt his ears. A face came into view. Dr. Wright. She looked tired. Commander Parker, can you hear me? She asked. Alan tried to speak. His throat felt dry. Yes, he finally said. His own voice sounded strange to him. Good. You've been unconscious for 3 days. That's longer than we expected. Alan tried to sit up. His body felt different, stronger, lighter. Every movement was easy, like his muscles were eager to work. How many survived? He asked. Dr. Wright's face showed sadness for just a moment. Out of the 25 who started the procedure, only 9 made it. The news should have upset Alan. 16 people had died, people he knew. But he felt nothing, just a calm acceptance of the facts. Lieutenant Wilson? Colonel Martinez? He asked. Wilson survived. Martinez didn't. Again, Alan waited for the sadness to come. Frank had been his friend for years, but there was only a cool, logical thought. We lost a good soldier. What happened? To my emotions? Alan asked. The procedure changed how your brain works, Dr. Wright explained. You still have emotions, but they're different now. They don't control you anymore. You can think clearly all the time. Alan nodded. It made sense. Emotions could be a weakness in battle. Fear could make you freeze. Anger could make you reckless. Love could make you protect one person instead of completing the mission. When can we start training? He asked. Today, if you feel ready. The others who survived are already in the combat room. Alan got out of bed. His movements were perfect. No wasted energy. No hesitation. He felt like he could run for days without getting tired. Dr. Wright led him to a large room. 8 other soldiers were there, moving through combat exercises. Alan recognized Lieutenant Wilson. She was fighting 3 training robots at once. Her movements were too fast for a normal human eye to follow. Your brain now processes information 10 times faster than a normal human brain, Dr. Wright said. Your muscles respond instantly to your thoughts, and you can see patterns that others miss. Alan watched the other soldiers. They all moved the same way he did now. Perfect, efficient, no fear, no doubt. What about the Nexarians? He asked. Will we be fast enough to fight them? We think so, Dr. Wright said. But there's only 9 of you, and we can't make more. The materials we needed for the procedure are gone now. Alan understood what this meant. 9 soldiers against an alien army. They would have to be perfect. They would have to be more than human. Then we'll have to be enough, he said. Training began immediately. They learned to use their new abilities. They could run faster than cars. They could jump 3 times higher than normal humans. Their brains could solve complex problems in seconds. Lieutenant Wilson, now just called 8, because she was the 8th to wake up after the procedure, approached Alan during a break. Commander, she said. Her voice was flat, like his. No, emotions. Do you remember your family? Alan reached for the memory. It was there, but distant. Like looking at a photo of strangers. Yes, but I don't feel the same way about them anymore. Me too, 8 said. I had a brother in Atlanta. I remember caring if he was alive. Now I just think about the mission. Is that better or worse? Alan asked. It's neither. It's what we needed to become. General Rodriguez visited 1 week later. He watched the 9 enhanced soldiers train. His eyes were wide with surprise and hope. Incredible, he said to Dr. Wright. They're faster than the Nexarians now. Yes, she agreed. But there are only 9 of them. 9 is all we need for what I have in mind, the general said. He turned to Alan. Commander, I have a mission for your team. The 9 soldiers gathered around a map. It showed a Nexarian command ship that had landed in what used to be Washington, D.C. This ship controls all Nexarian forces on the East Coast, General, Rodriguez explained. Our intelligence says that if this ship is destroyed, their forces will be confused for at least 48 hours. Enough time for human forces to attack, Alan said. It wasn't a question. His new mind saw the strategy immediately. Exactly. But the ship is heavily guarded. No normal human team could get close enough to plant explosives. We're not normal humans anymore, 8 said. No, you're not, the general agreed. You're our last hope. They spent 3 days planning the mission. Their enhanced minds worked together perfectly. They didn't argue or disagree like normal humans. They simply found the best plan through pure logic. On the 4th day, they left Cheyenne Mountain in a small, fast aircraft. They flew low to avoid Nexarian sensors. When they were 20 miles from Washington, they jumped out. No parachutes. Their enhanced bodies could survive the fall. They landed in the ruins of Arlington. Once a national cemetery, now just another battlefield. They moved silently through the destroyed city. Normal humans would have been spotted immediately, but they were faster than human eyes could see. Nexarian patrols were everywhere. The aliens were tall, with forearms and skin like black metal. They carried weapons that fired energy instead of bullets. One hit would turn a normal human to ash. But the 9 soldiers weren't normal anymore. They avoided the patrols easily. Their enhanced minds could predict where the Nexarians would look, where they would go next. They reached the edge of what used to be the National Mall. The Nexarian command ship sat where the White House once stood. It was huge, like a black mountain made of metal. "Remember the plan?" Alan said through their special communication devices. "Teams of 3. 3 points of attack. Place the explosives and get out. We meet back at the extraction point in 30 minutes. The others nodded. No fear, no doubt. Just cold, perfect focus. Alan went with 2 and 5. 8 led 3 and 7. 4 led 6 and 9. They split up and approached the ship from different directions. Alan's team moved through the shadows. 2 Nexarian guards stood at a side entrance. Too many to avoid. They would have to attack. Alan moved first. He was beside the first guard before it could react. His enhanced strength made it easy to break the alien's neck. 2 took care of the second guard just as quickly. They entered the ship. Inside, it was dark. The walls looked like they were made of black glass. Alan's team moved quickly through the corridors. Normal humans would have been lost in the strange design, but their enhanced minds made a perfect map as they went. They reached their target, one of the ship's power cores. 5 placed the explosives while Alan and 2 stood guard. "Explosives set," 5 reported. 10 minutes until detonation. Team 2 report. Alan called through the comm. "Explosives set." 8's voice came back. 10 minutes. Team 3 report. There was silence. "Team 3 report," Alan repeated. Finally, 4's voice came through. "Team 3 is down 1. 6 didn't make it. Explosives are set." Alan processed this information. One of them was dead. He felt nothing but a slight adjustment to their extraction plan. "Proceed to extraction point," he ordered. As his team moved back through the ship, alarms suddenly blared. The Nexarians knew they were there. "Run," Alan ordered. Not out of fear, but because it was the logical response, they ran, faster than any human had ever run before. Nexarian guards fired at them. Energy weapons lit up the corridors. 7 was hit as they exited the ship. Her body turned to ash instantly. "Keep moving," 8 ordered the rest of her team. They ran through the ruins of Washington. Behind them, the Nexarian ship exploded in 3 huge fireballs. The sound was deafening. The ground shook. The remaining 7 soldiers didn't look back. They just kept running toward the extraction point. A small human aircraft was waiting for them. They climbed aboard quickly. As the aircraft rose into the air, Alan looked down at the burning Nexarian ship. "Mission accomplished," he said. There was no celebration, no happiness, just the cold satisfaction of completing their task. The first real battle in humanity's fight back had been won. And it was just the beginning. The destruction of the Nexarian command ship changed everything. For 3 years, humans had only run and hidden. Now, for the first time, they had struck back. And they had won. News of the victory spread quickly through the remaining human bases. People who had lost hope began to believe again. Soldiers who had been fighting a losing war stood taller. Maybe, just maybe, humanity had a chance. Alan and his team returned to Cheyenne Mountain. 7 soldiers where there had once been 9. But they had completed their mission perfectly. General Rodriguez met them when they landed. "You did it," he said. His face showed the happiness that Alan could no longer feel. "Their forces on the East Coast are in chaos. Our regular troops have already taken back 3 small cities." "What's our next target?" Alan asked. His mind was already planning the next mission. "First, you need to rest," the general said. Alan didn't understand. His enhanced body wasn't tired. His mind was clear. "We're ready for the next mission now," he said. Dr. Wright joined them. She looked at Alan with concern. "You might not feel tired, Commander, but your bodies need time to recover. The enhancements put a lot of stress on your systems." Alan checked his internal sense of his body. She was right. There were small signs of strain that his old self would not have noticed. 24 hours, he agreed. Then we need a new mission. During their rest period, Dr. Wright did tests on all 7 soldiers. She seemed worried about what she found. "What's wrong?" 8 asked her. Like Alan, 8 didn't feel emotions the way she used to. But she could still read facial expressions perfectly. "Your bodies are showing signs of breakdown," Dr. Wright said. "The enhancements are putting too much stress on your systems. At this rate, you have maybe 2 months before your bodies start to fail." 8 processed this information. 2 months is enough time to win this war," she said simply. Dr. Wright looked sad. "I'm sorry. We knew there would be side effects, but we hoped they wouldn't be this severe." "It doesn't matter," Alan said. He had heard the conversation. "We knew this was a one-way mission. As long as we live long enough to defeat the Nexarians, that's all that matters." The next day, General Rodriguez gave them their new mission. A large map showed the location of 3 more Nexarian command ships. "Intelligence suggests that if we take out these 3 ships, their entire command structure on Earth will collapse," the general explained. "And then?" Alan asked. "Then we take back our planet," the general said. "1 city at a time." The 7 enhanced soldiers studied the map. Their perfect minds quickly saw the best approach. "We'll need to hit all 3 targets at the same time," Alan said. "If we attack one, the others will increase their defenses." "That means splitting up," 2 said. 2 had been a major before the procedure. Now he was just 2. 2 or 3 soldiers per target. "Yes," Alan agreed. "I'll take the Chicago target with 3. 8, you take 2 and 4 to the Denver target. 5, you go with 9 to the Atlanta target." Everyone nodded. No arguments. No fear about the smaller teams. Just acceptance of the logical plan. They left the next morning in 3 small, fast aircraft. Each team carried enough explosives to destroy a command ship. Each soldier knew that they might not come back, and none of them cared. All that mattered was the mission. Alan and 3 landed outside what used to be Chicago. The city was mostly ruins now. The Nexarian command ship sat in the middle of what had once been a large park. "Security looks heavy," 3 said. His enhanced eyes could see details from miles away. At least 30 guards on the outside. Alan's mind quickly calculated their odds. "We'll approach from the north side. There's more cover there." They moved through the ruins faster than normal humans could see. They avoided Nexarian patrols easily. Their enhanced minds could predict the aliens' movements before they happened. They were almost to the ship when 3 suddenly stopped. "Something's wrong," he said. "The patrol patterns have changed." Alan looked ahead. 3 was right. The Nexarians were moving differently now, not in their usual predictable patterns. "They're adapting," Alan said. "They've learned from the Washington attack." This was unexpected. The Nexarians had always been predictable before. That's what made them beatable despite their advanced technology. If they were learning to be unpredictable. "We need a new approach," Alan said. His mind raced through options. "We'll have to create a distraction." 3 nodded. "I'll draw their attention to the south side. You place the explosives." Alan knew this meant 3 probably wouldn't survive. But it was the logical solution. "Agreed." 3 moved away without another word. Alan waited. 5 minutes later, he heard explosions from the south side of the ship. Alarms blared. Most of the Nexarian guards ran toward the sound. Alan moved. He ran straight for the ship, faster than any normal human could see. 2 Nexarian guards spotted him, but they were too slow. He broke their necks as he passed. Inside the ship, Alan moved quickly through the dark corridors. His perfect memory recalled the layout from the Washington ship. This one was similar. He found the power core and placed the explosives. "Explosives set," he said into his comm device. 10 minutes to detonation. There was no answer from 3. Alan expected that. He started to leave the ship. Halfway to the exit, he ran into a group of Nexarian soldiers. Too many to fight. He turned and ran another way. The ship's design was confusing, meant to disorient enemies. But Alan's enhanced mind kept a perfect map. He found another way out and ran into the ruins of Chicago. Behind him, the ship exploded in a massive fireball. The ground shook. The sound was deafening. Alan didn't look back. He kept running toward the extraction point where the aircraft waited. His comm device beeped. "Team 2 reporting," came 8's voice. "Denver target destroyed. 2 and 4 didn't make it." A moment later, Team 3 reporting. "Atlanta target destroyed. 5 didn't make it." Alan processed this information as he ran. 3, 2, 4, and 5. All gone. That left only him, 8 and 9. The aircraft was waiting where it should be. Alan climbed aboard. "Take off," he ordered the pilot. As they rose into the air, Alan looked down at the burning Nexarian ship. 3 had given his life to make this possible. Alan didn't feel sad, just a cool acknowledgement of a necessary sacrifice. "Mission accomplished," he said quietly. When he returned to Cheyenne Mountain, he found 8 and 9 already there. Their faces showed no emotion when he told them about 3. General Rodriguez joined them. His face was a mix of joy and sadness. "You did it," he said. "All 3 command ships destroyed. The Nexarians are in complete disarray. Our troops are already taking back cities across the country." "How long until they reorganize?" Alan asked. "Intelligence suggests at least 2 weeks. Maybe more. They've never had a setback like this before." Alan looked at 8 and 9. Only 3 enhanced soldiers left. But the Nexarians were on the run for the first time. "What's our next mission?" he asked. The general hesitated. "Dr. Wright wants to see you first, all 3 of you." They found Dr. Wright in her lab. She looked tired, like she hadn't slept in days. "The tests show your bodies are breaking down faster than we expected," she said without greeting. "You have weeks now, not months." "How many weeks?" Alan asked. 3. Maybe 4. 3 weeks. Alan's perfect mind calculated what they could accomplish in that time. If the Nexarians were in disarray for 2 weeks, that gave them 1 or 2 weeks of effective fighting before their bodies failed. "That's enough time," he said. Dr. Wright looked surprised. "You're not upset?" "We never expected to survive this war," 8 said simply. 3 weeks is enough time to make sure humanity wins." "But you won't be there to see it," Dr. Wright said. Alan thought about this. He wouldn't see the end of the war. He wouldn't know if his wife and daughter had survived. Somehow, that didn't seem to matter anymore. All that mattered was the mission, the survival of humanity. "We don't need to see it," he said. "We just need to make it happen." 3 weeks. That was all the time Alan, 8, and 9 had left. Their enhanced bodies were breaking down. Soon, they would fail completely. But they were determined to use every minute they had to save humanity. General Rodriguez called them to a meeting 2 days after their last mission. Maps and reports covered the walls. For the first time in years, the maps showed areas controlled by humans, not just the Nexarians. "Thanks to your attacks on their command ships, we've taken back 12 cities, the general said. His voice was proud. "Our regular forces are fighting well. The Nexarians are confused without their central command. But it won't last," Alan said. His enhanced mind saw the pattern clearly. They'll adapt. They'll reorganize. Yes, the general agreed. Intelligence suggests they're bringing in a new commander. Their main ship is entering Earth orbit now. He pointed to a satellite image. A massive Nexarian ship, much larger than the ones they had destroyed, was visible above Earth. Our scientists think this is their supreme commander, the general continued. If we can eliminate this ship, the Nexarian forces on Earth will be cut off from their home world. They'll be trapped here with no leadership, no reinforcements. And humans can beat them, 8 said. It wasn't a question, just a logical conclusion. Yes, but we have no way to reach that ship. It's in orbit, beyond our reach. Alan studied the image. His perfect mind worked through possibilities. There must be a way for the ship to communicate with forces on the ground, he said. 9 nodded. A transmitter, something on Earth that sends signals to the ship. Exactly, the general said. Our intelligence has located it. Here. He pointed to a spot on the map in what used to be Nevada. It's a heavily guarded facility. No normal human force could get close. But we're not normal humans, Alan said. No, the general agreed. You're not. But there are only 3 of you now, and the facility is heavily guarded. Even with your abilities, it's practically a suicide mission. We're dying anyway, 8 said simply. The general looked at them with a mix of sadness and gratitude. If you destroy the transmitter, the main ship will be forced to land to establish a new one. When it does, we'll be waiting with everything. We have left. When do we leave? Alan asked. Tomorrow morning, the general said. And thank you. All of you. That night, Alan sat alone in his room. His enhanced mind didn't need sleep the way a normal human did. Instead, he reviewed the mission plans over and over, looking for any possible problems, any way to improve their chances. A knock came at his door. It was Dr. Wright. May I come in? She asked. Alan nodded. She entered and sat across from him. I have something for you, she said. She handed him a small device. It's an experimental treatment. It might give you an extra week of time before your body fails. Alan looked at the device. 1 week. Yes. I wish it could be more. Alan thought about this. An extra week might not seem like much, but for a soldier with his abilities, a week could change the course of the war. Thank you, he said. Dr. Wright hesitated, then asked, Do you ever regret volunteering for this? Giving up your humanity? Alan considered the question. Did he regret it? He couldn't feel regret the way he used to, but he could analyze the question logically. No, he finally said. Before the procedure, I was just one soldier. Not much different from any other. Now, I can make a real difference. We all can. Dr. Wright nodded. Get some rest, Commander. Tomorrow will be difficult. The next morning, Alan, 8, and 9 left in a small, fast aircraft. They flew low over the desert, avoiding Nexarian patrols. When they were 10 miles from the target, they jumped out. Their enhanced bodies could survive the fall easily. They landed in the desert and moved quickly toward the transmitter facility. It was a large building surrounded by a high wall. Nexarian guards patrolled everywhere. More guards than we expected, 9 observed. At least 100. Alan's mind calculated their odds. Not good, even with their enhanced abilities. But they had to try. 8, you circle around to the east side, he ordered. 9, take the west. I'll approach from the south. We attack simultaneously in 10 minutes. They separated, each moving to their position. Alan's perfect mind counted down the seconds. When it was time, he moved. He ran faster than any normal human could see. The first few Nexarian guards didn't even have time to raise their weapons before he reached them. His enhanced strength made it easy to break their armor, to find the weak spots in their bodies. Alarms blared, energy weapons fired. Alan dodged, most of the shots, but one grazed his arm. Pain shot through his body, but his enhanced mind pushed it aside. He kept moving. He reached the wall and jumped over it easily. Inside, more guards waited. Too many to fight directly. Alan ran past them, heading for the main building. Through his comm device, he heard 8's voice. East side breached. Moving to the target. Then 9. West side. Heavy resistance. I'm hit, but still moving. Alan reached the main building and broke through the door. Inside, he found what they were looking for. A large device sending signals to the ship in orbit. He placed his explosives quickly, setting the timer for 5 minutes. Explosives set, he reported. 5 minutes, get clear. He turned to leave, but found his path blocked by a group of Nexarians. Not ordinary soldiers. These were bigger, with more advanced armor. Elite guards. Alan fought, using every bit of his enhanced strength and speed. He killed 3, 4, 5 of them. But there were too many. An energy blast hit his leg, another hit his side. He fell to one knee. Through his comm device, he heard 8. Explosive set on the backup transmitter. 5 minutes. 9 is down. I repeat, 9 is down. Alan fought on. More Nexarians fell. But his enhanced body was taking too much damage. His internal systems reported critical failures. He had minutes left, maybe less. But the explosives were set. That was all that mattered. 8, he called through the comm. Get to the extraction point. What about you? 8's voice came back. Complete. The mission. That's an order. Alan fought his way through more guards, reaching a side door. Outside, more Nexarians waited. He ran, his damaged leg slowing him down. Energy blasts followed him. One hit his back. He fell. The pain was intense, but his enhanced mind pushed it aside. He checked his internal clock. 2 minutes until the hour. Explosives detonated. With his last strength, Alan got up and kept moving. Not toward the extraction point. He knew he wouldn't make it that far. Instead, he headed for a group of fuel tanks near the edge of the facility. He reached the tanks just as his enhanced body began to shut down. Systems failing. Vision going dark. But his mind stayed clear to the end. Alan used his last strength to break open one of the tanks. Fuel spilled out. He took out his last explosive and set it with shaking hands. For humanity, he whispered as he pressed the detonator. The explosion was massive. It set off the main explosives in the transmitter building. The entire facility went up in flames. The Nexarian transmitter was destroyed completely. Miles away, 8 watched the explosions from the small aircraft. Her enhanced mind felt no sadness for Alan and 9, just a cool acknowledgement of necessary sacrifices, and a clear understanding that the mission was complete. When she returned to Cheyenne Mountain, she found the base in a state of controlled excitement. General Rodriguez met her as she landed. You did it, he said. The Nexarian main ship is descending. It will land in 24 hours, and we'll be ready. 8 nodded. Her body was failing. She could feel it. The experimental treatment from Dr. Wright had given her a little more time, but not much. Will it be enough, she asked. One last battle? Yes, the general said firmly. Thanks to you and your team, humanity has a real chance now. The Nexarians are confused, cut off from home, and we're ready to take back our planet. 8 looked at the sky. Somewhere up there, the Nexarian main ship was coming down. One final battle was coming. She wouldn't live to see the end of it. Her enhanced body had maybe 2 days left, but that was enough time to fight one more time, to make sure humanity won. Get me a weapon, she said. I want to be there when it lands. 2 days later, the combined forces of humanity met the Nexarian main ship when it landed. Leading them was a single enhanced soldier, moving faster than human eyes could follow, killing alien soldiers before they could react. 8 fought until her enhanced body finally gave out. But by then, it was enough. The human forces pushed forward. The Nexarian commander was killed. The alien forces, leaderless and cut off from home, began to surrender. Humanity had won. The planet was theirs again. In the years that followed, cities were rebuilt. People came out of hiding. Life began again. And everywhere, there were monuments to the soldiers who had turned the tide of war. Not just the enhanced ones, but all who had fought and died. Dr. Wright continued her work, but never again created enhanced soldiers like Alan and his team. The price had been too high. Instead, she focused on helping humanity rebuild, and on a wall in the new capital city, there was a simple plaque with 9 names. 9 soldiers who had given everything, including their humanity, to save their species. 9 heroes who had turned a hopeless war into victory. Humanity had been doomed until elite human soldiers turned the tide of war.